what you want to have happen should you pass away. Where do you want your money to go? Hello and welcome to another episode of the Money Matters Podcast. My name is PJ Patterson. I am the founder and director of Intrepid Wealth, and today's topic is death nominations inside of superannuation. Now, before you turn this off and change the channel, this is a really important topic that I would love for you to pay attention to, because this is often the cause of a lot of problems when people pass away if they don't have a nomination, a death nomination inside of their super. Let me start by explaining what a nomination form or a death benefit nomination form actually is. When you set up a superannuation fund, one of the things that you need to declare to the trustee of the fund is what you want to have happen should you pass away. Where do you want your money to go? To whom or to what entity do you want that to go to? This is important because superannuation typically does not form part of an estate. It is considered a separate asset that has its own nomination form, and you can nominate, for example, I have nominated that my legal personal representative would deal with that in my estate, but I have lots of clients who have nominated that their spouse, in some cases, if they're divorced or don't have a spouse, that their children would receive it, that sort of thing. So this legal document has that information on it. It tells the fund who you are, what your account number is, and those particulars, and it says, here are the beneficiaries that I am nominating. And you can have multiple beneficiaries. You can have more than one. You could have 2, 3, 4, 10. Obviously, in most cases, you're probably going to have one or two, most likely a family member, someone like that. And I would encourage you, before you run out and set up your death nomination form, that you do have a conversation with your family and make sure that they know, A, that you have these benefits that could come to them, but also have a conversation to see where you want those to go. So that's what this document's all about, is it tells the trustee of the fund where to direct your benefits. And there are some things, some terminology called binding and non-binding. I'm not really going to go into those because I think it's more important that in the first instance that you just find out, A, whether you have this documentation completed, and if you don't have it completed, that you go and start that process and you can work out the other things as you go along. But very quickly, the difference between a binding and non-binding is one, which is binding on the trustee. They have no choice but to send the benefit to the people nominated, or the entities nominated in that nomination form. A non-binding form, there's a little bit more discretion, but those are somewhat nuanced, and I'm not going to go into those in this podcast. So I've explained what it is and basically what it does, which is it tells the trustee where to direct your benefits. So why is this important? Well, it's important because if you do not have a death nomination form lodged and current with your superannuation provider, then the estate and the fund can't wrap up what's going to happen with your superannuation account. In other words, the trustee is then tasked with determining what to do with your money. And that can take a long time. That could take several months. It could take several years. And that will depend on how large the account is and whether or not you had other people in the estate that might want to get access to that money. So it's not a situation you want to find yourself in where you don't have that document in place. What happens if you don't have one? Well, if you don't have one, again, the trustee has that discretion. And the good news is, if you find that you have not completed the documentation and you're alive, then of course you can go and complete that documentation, send it into the fund, and get it on file. And to that end, very easy to do. Just contact your superannuation provider, whoever that is. Usually you can find it online as well. You can go to their website and type in death beneficiary nomination. Usually a form will pop up. Also, if you just call your provider, they're usually quite helpful in helping you to get that organized. You will need to have that document witnessed, which is really important. You have to have two witnesses, and they cannot be one of the beneficiaries. So there's a little bit of a conflict of interest there. Obviously, if a beneficiary is also witnessing that you have signed that document. Usually you just go to a neighbor's house, get them to witness it, or someone in your family or friend circle that is not going to be a beneficiary for nominated beneficiary. That's about all I have to say about death benefit nomination forms. Again, I do hope you found that useful. And if you are unsure whether or not you have a death benefit nomination on file, please get out and contact your superannuation provider. Find out if you have it. If you are an SMSF or self-managed super fund trustee, please check your documentation and make sure you have that document and that it's been signed and witnessed. It's really important that that document, especially for self-managed super fund, people who've set up SMSFs, that is one of the things that I see more often than not that has not been done correctly. So it's really important that you get that done correctly. I hope that's been helpful. Again, I'm PJ Patterson of Intrepid Wealth, and I wish you all the success with your investing endeavors.